Hello there, it's Alana, and I'm back to help with this problem. This time it's 10.2, number 17 from the study plan. So let me click on View an Example here. All right, it says in February 2008, an organization surveyed 1,050 adults aged 18 and older and found that 546 believed that they would not have enough money to live comfortably in retirement. Does the evidence, or excuse me, does the sample evidence suggest that a majority of adults in a certain country believe they will not have enough money in retirement? All right, so verify that the requirements are met, which I can't remember if that's the first question. And then the hypotheses, I think, is the first part. Let me go back. Yeah, so what's your null and alternative? And I can do it here. The key is the word majority, right? What makes it so that there's a majority? So for example, if you have, 10 people voting, a majority would be more than half, right? So for example, 5 and 5 wouldn't do it, but 6 and 4 would, right? So you need to have more than 50% in order to make a majority. So majority is larger than 50%. Cool. And that, I think, is what they said. Oops. Oh, that's why. I'm like, where is that window? There it is. Okay, so it's 50% or greater than 50%. And majority, of course, means more than. So your alternative has to be just plain greater than. It can't be greater than or equal to. It's just greater than. Of course, the reverse of this would be minority, right? The minority. So if they're asking about minority, that would be less than 50%. Okay. So let me click continue. Then they want us to run the test, and they came up with a p-value and all that good stuff, right? And I'm not sure how it would work in the problem, but we're just going to use technology to do this because they've given us the information. And I'm going to do it with StatCrunch. Hold on one second. There it is. I have so many windows open. Okay, so let me pull this out so that way I can see it along with the problem itself. Hold on. The problem is here, and then StatCrunch is here, and then I'm going to make it smaller so I can see what I'm doing. Let's see. I actually have two screens, but you guys can only see one screen at a time. So, all right, so I want stat, and I'm going to choose proportions. We're dealing with one sample in chapter 10, so one sample. And we don't have data. We almost never have data for proportions in this course. That would be like a huge list of 1,000 people or 1,000 data points. Yes, no, yes, no. We don't generally deal with that. So we have a summary. And the number of successes we had was 546 believe they will not have enough money for retirement, which isn't necessarily successful, but it counts as a success in statistics. And then 1050 for the number of observations total. So X is on the top, N is on the bottom. Next. The null proportion is 0.5, 50%. It's a pretty common one. That and 0, actually, when we get to chapter 11, gets tested a lot. So 50% is majority, right? So a lot of questions ask about that. But our alternative is not equal. They want majority. That means more than. So we want the greater than, right? Greater than 50%. Next, whatever, calculate. And there it is. So 0.0975, which pretty well matches what they gave us. Let me copy that. I'm just going to paste it into this right here so we can see it. So they said it was 546 out of 1050. My sample proportion is p hat. This is p hat right here, right? Which is 0.52, which is, if you want to see it, it's 546 divided by 1050. That's where that's coming from. Standard error is that big honkin' formula with the square root. Square root of p times 1 minus p over n, or in this case, p hat times 1 minus p hat over n. There's your test statistic right there. And then there's your p-value. Cool. So the p-value is, let's see, our alpha is 0.01, so we are not going to reject the null hypothesis, right? If alpha is 0.01, we only reject if something is rare, and it's rare if its p-value is low. This is not that low. This is close to 10%. That's not that rare. We want lower than 1%, right? So we do not reject the null hypothesis, which means there is not enough evidence to support the claim that a majority Oh, you guys can't see that. I'm sorry. That's so small. Sorry. There's not enough evidence to support the claim that a majority of people in that country feel they will not have enough money for retirement. It was larger than 50%, but it wasn't so large that it was significant, right? Being up at 0.52, meh. Now being at 0.59, that might have been something. All right, I hope that helps with that, and that should give you everything you need to do that problem.